I just wanted to share with you guys a little update about this hive. This is the bee removal that I did. See, today's Monday. I did it on Friday, July 12th. I was in the floor joist with the wraparound deck. This was kind of interesting because I think I mentioned when I released the queen, I mentioned how when I went to pick them up the night before, almost all the bees were clustered on the outside of the box, and they weren't wanting to accept the box for whatever reason. Now I'm not sure. I have a couple different theories as far as maybe the box still smelled like the rot from the last colony that had died out with small hive beetle, or what the issue. I'm not sure, but I checked in on them yesterday, Sunday, so that was 2 days after, and as silly as it is, it's because I had a nightmare on Saturday night that the colony was, something wasn't right about it. I know that sounds ridiculous, that maybe I'm not passionate about the bees, but I just dreamed all night long that I was out here trying to get them to accept the hive and trying, and they wouldn't do it. So anyway, when I went and I got that swarm on Sunday, when I came back and set it up, I went ahead and popped in on this hive and checked it, and sure enough, they still hadn't accepted any of their combs. Now that's odd because those were their combs that I cut out of their colony in the house and moved to the frames, and they just immediately wouldn't take them. I don't know if there was something on my gloves that got on the combs that made it not smell right, but I kind of wonder if it had something to do with just the combs being relatively new and being real soft, and maybe I just mashed them and didn't realize it. Actually, I'll say my father-in-law, because he was the one strapping them in the frames, and I would definitely, question that he was maybe a little rougher with them, not, understanding how soft they are when they're that new. But regardless, they didn't accept any of them. And just a little note again on small hive beetle, from Friday morning when I cut that colony out until Sunday afternoon when I checked it, the beetles had slimed all 6 frames that I transferred. And so the bees didn't want anything to do with any of them, and there was slime all over the bottom of the box. The bees were all up on both sides of the box. They were on the inside at least, but all up on the sides, not anywhere near the bottom or on any frames. They weren't taking any honey from the feeder there. So I pulled out all 6 frames, as much as I didn't want to, just because, you want to transfer some brood comb just to help them, but if that brood comb gets slimed, it's no good, and you've got to get it out as fast as possible. So I pulled out all 6 frames that had the slimed comb in them, and I gave them a couple of frames with foundation that had just slightly drawn wax on them. Not any honey stores in it. Actually, I guess there was a little bit of honey, but nothing capped, nothing major, just enough to that they were starting to draw on to give them a little boost. And put the feeder on there. Well, the feeder was already on there, but just for a last resort, just to see if that would help, and it definitely did. Also, I scraped out the bottom, I scraped all that slime out of it. Checked in on tonight, or this afternoon, this is Monday now, and they were all over all the frames of foundation. They seemed really happy. I saw the queen, she looked good, and they had actually started bringing in some pollen already, so I think that's a good sign. I think they're going to stay. Oh, I got a bee bothering me. Gotta go. Okay, despite my red light, I had a bee bothering me, so anyway, just I guess to wrap up on the video, they were starting to take to the foundation, and so I think they're going to stay. I think they've accepted the box for whatever reason why it smelled. They've gotten over it, and so I guess the last little bit is I took another frame with foundation that had more drawn comb, deeper drawn, deep enough that I think the queen could lay in it, but not fully drawn to where it might be an issue that they can't control it, and moved it in there. So I'll check in on them probably in another 2 or 3 days, and just kind of watch how they're treating that feeder, see if they're drawing it down more. It does look like they're taking from it now. So I'll check in on them and see, if the queen's laying her eggs or not. And yeah, I think it's going to work, and I feel good about that. I got to thinking back. I did a bee removal maybe a month and a half ago, and it was the one where it was the repeat job. I was going back to a lady's house for the second time, and the colony was almost the exact same situation. They'd been there for about a month, and had a young queen who was starting laying pretty heavy, and transferred them home, and the exact same thing happened to them. They just, for whatever reason, didn't accept the box, didn't accept their own combs, and within a couple days were slimed out. Now on that colony I lost it just because I didn't know what to do. I wasn't sure what to do, and I wasn't paying attention, and I mean, lost them right away. So I'm not sure if it has something to do with just that kind of age range, that colony, maybe during that point they, are kind of ahead of themselves with how much comb they have versus what their population is, and they can't take care of it. Unless y'all look at my dogs rather than the wood floor. I'm really not sure, but it's just kind of a note to think about that, I think based on the age of the colony that you cut out or that you move, I think, different things can happen. They can be really susceptible to different things for whatever reason. Another kind of example of that is that swarms, I went and did swarm captures, brought them home. They've stayed in the box just long enough to drain the feeder, and then they move on again. And they swarm out on me. So, just another kind of thing to think about with that is, they're kind of still in that swarm mode. So maybe if you catch them in that first month or two, like these 2 removals that got slime worm, maybe they're just not attached to that comb yet. Maybe they're just not happy with it. I'm not sure. But anyway, like I said, checked on them tonight. Everything looks good. It looks like they're doing a lot better. That makes me a lot happier. I think I've certainly learned a lesson there as far as, when they're in that sort of early couple months where they really got to be more careful. And I guess just an update too on that swarm catch that I did yesterday on Sunday. I actually was just out there and replaced their feeder. I gave them a half pint of honey yesterday, and they pretty much ate it all in the last 24 hours. And so I went ahead and swapped it out with a quart jar tonight of honey. So I definitely think they're going to stay, but just as a safe check again, they've got an introducer on their colony that is a queen excluder. That way, even if they are still in swarm mode, the queen can't get out, so ideally they won't swarm. And once they've, drawn out a few more combs and set up shop, hopefully that'll be enough to convince them to stay. So, looks like things are going good. It's been, a busy weekend and a busy week. It's going to be a busy week ahead, but I just wanted to check in with you guys and kind of give you that little lesson if anybody's listening. So, that's it for now. See ya.